Hey everybody, Shane here, Shoebox Legends. Thanks for joining me today for an episode of Patio Pickups here on the channel. Going to take a look at this stack of additions to my collection, none of which I've shown here on YouTube before. And the common theme for this episode is going to be kind of thinking outside the box. And one of the things I love about this hobby, there are a million different ways that you can approach it and an infinite number of lenses which you can view the hobby through to kind of keep it fresh and interesting. And I'm always thinking about that and kind of turning it on its head and considering other ways that I can enjoy the hobby and other collections that I can get into. And I think the round of pickups that we're going to look at in today's video are kind of representative of that. We're going to start with one hockey card here, and then we're going to move into some baseball and then close with something that's really kind of off the map or that I don't see talked about too often. I've seen a couple videos on it, but let's start with the hockey. Just a single card this time. But it's a childhood favorite of mine, the Hartford Whalers, the team of my youth, growing up in Connecticut and playing youth hockey. Huge Whalers fan. My brothers and I were junior Whalers, would go to games every season, went to the Whalers training camp one summer to learn new skills and practice, and just a diehard Whalers fan until they moved out of the state. And although they don't get a lot of cards these days, I do try to keep my eyes peeled for any new Hartford Whalers additions. And this is a buyback card from Upper Deck. You can see the silver stamp down there. So initially this was a 92-93 Upper Deck base card of Pat Verbeek, the little ball of hate, and one of the 10 best players ever to play for the Whalers. He's not in the Hall of Fame, but he's a 500 goal scorer and a really, really great player. And this buyback you can see in the upper right is a 1 of 1. And that's an example of one of those areas. Until recently, I never thought I would own any 1 of 1s or make an effort to collect them. But this is one of a few that I've actually added here in 2024. So never say never. Think outside the box, and 1 of 1s makes sense to me now in some cases. That's a priceless Whalers card that I hope to have in my collection for as long as I'm at it here in the hobby. Let's move over to baseball now. I have a couple of cards here of 2 different subjects who I think are notable players that you may or may not be familiar with. They're sort of on the periphery of MLB stardom, or somebody that you'd really know about if you're just a casual fan. But I think both are very interesting. And we'll start with a guy who's now retired, Pat Venditti. This is his rookie card from 2015 Topps, and this particular version is the Snow Camo, C-A-M-O parallel. These were, I think, a 1 and done this year, numbered to 99 on the back. I don't think this parallel lasted beyond 2015, but I like it because it's a rookie card numbered below 100. And what's really fascinating, this is his only Topps flagship card, is his rookie. And Pat, for those who don't know, was a switch pitcher. And yes, that's exactly what you think it is. He could throw ambidextrously, left-handed or right-handed, to the point where he could switch off within the same at-bat, which is wild to me. Not only just, in general, it's not like he would make one start as a lefty and then a week later start as a righty. He could switch it up pitch to pitch, quite literally, and was drafted by the Yankees in, I think it was 2008, and played through the minors and finally debuted with the Athletics in 2015, got himself a rookie card in 2015 Topps, bounced around to about 7 or 8 other teams, I think maybe 8 teams total, and then finally wrapped up his baseball career, I think after the 2020 season officially. So yeah, his one and only Topps card. And he's fascinating. When he was in the minors, there was like a standoff scenario with a switch hitter. And you can imagine this, switch hitter comes up to the plate, say Venditti's pitching right, as a right-hander. So the switch hitter goes up as a lefty to get prepared against a righty. So Venditti just switches, puts the ball in his other hand, switches his glove. I think he had a custom glove that he could put on either hand, and decides to pitch as a lefty to regain the advantage. Well, the switch hitter just moves to the other side of the box. And this goes on back and forth for a minute or so before the umps finally, put a stop to the scenario and force, the players to settle down and choose a side. And eventually, I think a week or 2 after that, Major League Baseball implemented a rule known as the Pat Venditti rule, which states that the pitcher has to declare what style they're going to pitch in prior to the at-bat. And then they need to stick with that through the at-bat so the hitter maintains that advantage of knowing going up to the plate, what direction they're going to be facing pitches from. So he didn't have a long or illustrious major league career, but he's very unique in baseball history, being a switch pitcher, excuse me, and has a rule in the rule book named after him, which is really, really cool. This was like $3 to get his numbered rookie card, and while I was at it, grabbed another favorite parallel of mine, the Topps Black version of the Venditti rookie. So I think there's not too many serial numbered 2015 parallels. I could and probably should get the gold numbered to 2015 just to round out the trio. But those two make me pretty satisfied. I'm not looking to become a super collector, but I just thought he was a really interesting name from baseball past that deserved to be represented in my collection. So again, just an example of thinking outside the box. Some of those players who, you know, aren't superstars and don't demand superstar prices, but are nonetheless interesting. And, you know, much like Vladimir Balentien, who I showed in a recent video, did an entire video focusing on him, the Japanese home run champion, the Nippon Professional Baseball home run champion, single season with 60 home runs, and they're giving his cards away on eBay and elsewhere just because he's not a popular player. Ooh, brutal glare on that Pat Verbeek. And speaking of, it's probably a good segue actually, Balentien. The other reason I put him up in the background, the next two cards that I'm going to show are a player who is also Japanese and is still playing over in Japan and has not yet transitioned, although he may in the future, to Major League Baseball. And that player is Murakami for the Tokyo Yakult Swallows in Nippon Professional Baseball. I learned of this card recently. He's a very talented young player. I think his name is Munetaka Murakami. I'm probably butchering the pronunciation on that. Somebody can correct me, but super talented player over in Japan, was drafted out of high school, and by age 19 was the everyday third baseman for the Yakult Swallows in Nippon Professional Baseball, which is pretty insane. Somebody who's still a teenager in that role and has completely excelled in every way in that league. He's won MVP, he's won, you know, home run titles. In fact, in his 2022 season, which was his age 22 campaign, he broke the record for home runs in a season by a Japanese-born player. Of course, I talked about in the episode that I did on Balentien, him holding the Nippon Professional Baseball single-season home run record at 60, but he emigrated over to Japan from the United States and began his baseball career over here. As far as Japanese-born players, the records still belong to Sadaharu Oh from like the mid-60s until 2022, when this guy broke it, hit 56, besting Oh's mark by 1, and did that as a 22-year-old. So, I mean, obviously doing a lot to get the attention of baseball enthusiasts and somebody who it's rumored may make a transition to Major League Baseball maybe in 2026. I think he's signed through 2025 with the Yakult Swallows right now. This was a 2-card lot that I won, that I actually won from Japan and was shipped to my door from Japan. And this one drew my eye because of the back. Like, how awesome is that back? Very appropriate for this garden episode, as we do have bunnies that come through here. But like, I love the Japanese style artwork on the back of this. It's just fantastic, and it's a little bit difficult to make out, but this is copy 99 of 99 of this particular parallel. Of course, this is like a T206 take from the other side of the pond, an NPB T206 set. And I just thought that parallel number to 99 was wild. I love the artwork in the background there. Great batting image, and a really, really cool card. But as much as I like the back on this one, it's really just the side piece that I found out about when I found the other card that was in the lot at auction. And this other card is the one that really drew me to picking up this Murakami lot. Let me make a little bit of room back here. Oh, we got some ants invading the scene, and just some more of that brutal glare. Here's the card that really turned me on to the lot. This is the same mini, but it's the gold refractor numbered to 50. So if you've been by the channel with any frequency, you know I love my gold numbered to 50 refractors. I'm certainly not alone in that, and the lighting is not doing this card justice, but it has great shine in person, that same awesome batting image, and the shine combined with the background Just has a really, really cool effect. Here's the number on the back, number to 50. Copy 44 of 50. This guy is in his age 24 season right now over in Japan, and he already has over 200 career home runs in Nippon professional baseball. He's the youngest player, I believe I read, to achieve the 200 home run milestone in any league. So just a really compelling young player. I didn't have any cards of his in my collection. He's a name that I knew. He was actually in the World Baseball Classic in the final, against the United States, that famed game where it ended with the Mike Trout strikeout. He actually hit a home run earlier in that game to put Japan up early. So just 2 cards there. That's probably the extent of my Murakami collection for now, but you never know. As I said at the beginning of the episode, never say never. And then we're going to go completely off the rails for the end of the episode here. I've been waiting to show these off for a while, but everybody gets into collecting goats and greats, right? Myself included. And I got to thinking a while back about a particular goat that I don't hear as much about. I do know one other person who did a video. I think it was Brian over at Hodges 1455. Showed 1 or 2 of this guy's cards in a video a long while back. Tony Hawk. So I was a child of the 90s, and he was a legend, and still is, but he's like the Michael Jordan of skateboarding, or the Wayne Gretzky of skateboarding, at least in my mind. He's still at it, I think, like in his 50s now. But this guy, I grew up in the era of the X Games and outdoor, skateboarding, half pipe, street skateboarding. Tony Hawk does it all. He's obviously most known for the half pipe, which is why I love the image here on this 2010 Allen and Ginter card of Tony catching some air. But yeah, just somebody who left a huge impression on me as a kid. I was into skateboarding for probably about 2 or 3 years. Never really got great at it. I was more dedicated to ice hockey, but it was a fun thing to do in my free time when I couldn't be skating. And maybe got to the point where I could land the occasional like kick flip, once out of every 10 tries or something, but clearly was not the sport for me. But I have a tremendous admiration for skateboarders, and I'm fascinated. I still to this day will watch like skateboarding highlight videos because I just think it's really, really fun. So I decided I wanted to get a couple of Tony Hawk cards. Now this card I've had in the collection for many years, and you can get it, for probably a quarter pretty easily. But I wanted to get a couple of more significant Tony Hawk cards just to have in my collection long term. So I settled on what I think is agreed as his official rookie, and that is from the 1990 Sports Illustrated for Kids release. Tony Hawk, look at that. Like how 90s, early 90s are the shoes and knee pads there. Even the shirt. I love this card. And I chose to get this in a CSG slab because I love the match between the green border on the card and the green of the CSG flip. So this is one of those cases where even though they now have a new design and they're not even called the same company anymore, I want this one exactly as I have it here because I think the green flip really actually adds to the visual appeal. This is a perforated card. These would come in sheets of 9 within the Sports Illustrated for Kids magazine. And people who collect a lot of like lesser represented sports are familiar with the set because they really ran the gamut over the years. So a lot of folks like Tony Hawk who are in less represented sports, like I said, have their official rookie or sometimes their only official card even in these Sports Illustrated for Kids releases. So that's not an expensive card, but it's not a cheap one either. It's probably his best known card and the card that the most people would want to collect of his. You know how everybody freaks out about the rookie card or the first being a big deal, so had to get that one. And then to round out today's video, probably my favorite card that we've looked at today, I got an epic version of this one because visually speaking, this is my favorite Tony Hawk card. And what I found was this gem. Hard signed by the man himself in a glorious, bold autograph right across the bottom of the card in a perfect spot. Looks incredible. Authenticated by PSA. Slabbed up for consistency with so many of my other cards. And certainly the crown jewel of my little 3-card Tony Hawk collection that we looked at today. Don't see myself, just like Pat Venditti. I don't need to become a super collector. I don't see myself, expanding beyond these 3. But I am thrilled to own these. I'm not exaggerating when I say that he left every bit of an impression on me as a child as like a Ken Griffey Jr. or a Nolan Ryan, just in his respective sport. Just a monster of sport, and somebody who I think deserves a ton of appreciation, and who I'm very grateful to have represented properly in my sports card collection. So Tony Hawk rounds out today's episode. Everything from Switch pitchers to skateboarding out here on the patio. Certainly appreciate you stopping by, especially if you stuck it around to the end and gave me 15 minutes of your valuable time. As you know, I'll be back soon with some more content. Until then, just keep enjoying the hobby and think outside the box, everybody. See ya.